President Uhuru Kenyatta's visit to retired President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi recently has caused quite a lot of jitters on the Kenyan political scene. Why were they meeting? What were they discussing? Actually, these jitters are not without reason. Sample the following. Every time somebody has gone to visit the retired president in recent times, something major has followed and has unfolded quickly after that meeting on our local political scene. In January 2017, the president's mother, Mama Ngina Kenyatta, visited the retired president in his Kabarak home. Very shortly after that, the problems and troubles of DP William Ruto within Jubilee Party came out to the fore. Well, it was not very obvious at that time, but very keen observers were able to see it. Because Gideon Moi, the retired president's son and senator of Baringo, and DP William Ruto started firing barbs at each other in public, at funerals, at other public places where they met. It got very serious. And this was happening in the presence of the president. Now, this is very significant. Because think about it, if you went to a meeting and hurled barbs at the deputy president and the president is there, what would be the insinuation? That you're actually attacking even the president. However, surprise, surprise, the president did not look at it this way. And something else very telling, Gideon Moi did not have any doubts that the president would misinterpret his attacks at DP William Ruto. Join the dots. When you join the dots, you will realize that this was the clearest of signs that all was not well with DP Ruto within Jubilee. And then Raila Odinga also visited the retired president. Now, shortly after that visit is when the current fight against corruption, high-level corruption, took off. So clearly, when somebody visits retired President Moi, it is not something that you can just brush off or ignore. Iko maneno hapa. There is definitely something cooking, okay? And we shall go very deeply into this immediately after the very brief upcoming commercial break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, there's something very important we need to take note of, if we were to understand this development, this very latest development in Kenyan politics. If we do not acknowledge this particular very important point, then it's very easy to get it all wrong. And that point is this. Maybe I should ask a question. Is it possible for the president to meet with the retired President Moi in complete secrecy, without the press knowing, without anybody knowing? Is that possible? Of course it is. In fact, It is even possible for the president to pick up a phone and call the retired president, and they could have a discussion for even 2 or 3 hours, and nobody would know about it. So, having acknowledged those facts, then we must conclude that this particular visit was made public deliberately. Folks, never forget that this is politics, okay? And politics cannot be analyzed the same way you analyze physics, or in the same way you analyze a play by William Shakespeare. For starters, you don't expect politicians to show their hand. You do not expect them to clearly spell out their motives. Now, I've said this before on this channel when I was analyzing the meeting between retired President Moi and the president's mother, Mama Ngina Kenyatta, that that particular meeting was made public with an objective. And the objective was to send a message to the DP William Ruto camp that actually the Kenyattas and the Mois have a very long history, and that it is very easy for them to pick another kingpin from within the Kalenjin community, and nobody will be able to do anything about it, and life will continue as if nothing happened. And therefore, what I suspect is that this latest visit by the president was to emphasize the fact that the real guardian of the Kalenjin community in Kenyan politics and in government is the Moi family. And if the Moi family are okay with something, then there should be no problem with the extended Kalenjin family. And the big implication here, if past meetings are anything to go by, is that clearly there's something very big about to happen. And that big thing has something to do with the Kalenjin family, or the Kalenjin community, if you like. Now, the fact that this visit by the president to the retired president has been revealed or has happened at the same time as the so-called secret night meetings between the president and Raila Odinga have also been exposed, that tells you something. I don't believe in coincidences. And I also don't believe in leaks coming about the president's activities without the knowledge of State House. I just don't. In other words, if I can spell it out, these leaks are deliberate. And the objective of that particular leak, was to emphasize to the Kenyan public that Raila and Uhuru are together, that the president consults Raila on very thorny, very important national issues. And therefore, the major decision that the government is about to make, the assumption will be that it has been okayed by Raila Odinga. And therefore, all supporters of Raila Odinga must support it. In other words, it has the full political backing of the people behind Raila Odinga, which the last time I checked is the vast majority of Kenyan voters, a very significant number within the Republic of Kenya. To me, all this emphasizes that there's something extremely huge about to break in Kenya, or rather in Kenyan politics. It is very possible that actually two things are about to happen, one of them connected to the Kalenjin community, and the other connected to Raila Odinga. Now, we know there are prosecutions going on, and we also know, if you have seen the list that I've published in Club 1999, that the people to be prosecuted cut right across party lines. On that list are people perceived to be very close to Raila Odinga, and on the same list there are also people perceived to be very close to President Uhuru Kenyatta. And of course, there are also individuals who hail from the Kalenjin community. It could be that, or even it could be a cabinet reshuffle, a major cabinet reshuffle, that will positively impact on those three groups, or even negatively impact on one of those three groups, most notably the Kalenjin community. Or it could be something else. But whatever it is, we have to agree on one thing. it's going to be huge. Anyway, I don't think we have long to wait before we find out. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.